Hey, everybody. Welcome back to week 2 of our wonderful world of online learning. This week, I'm going to be taking you guys through very similar to how I did last week. Just running through a few things, not going into too much detail, but I do want to talk to you about some of the common themes you're going to see, maybe some of the bigger words that are going to play a role throughout the lesson, things like that. Before I get started, I do just want to reach out and say, I hope everybody's doing all right. I hope you're working through everything well, spending time with your family. When it comes to the courses, if you are working ahead of where I am, I'm trying to pace myself with where you guys might be. If you're ahead of where I am, feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'll do whatever I can to help you. If you're working a little bit behind where we are, that's okay too. Just try your best to keep on pace with what I'm talking about. Try to spend at least an hour a week on each course if possible. Okay, so this week we're talking about westward expansion. Okay, remember last week we talked about the age of Jackson, President Andrew Jackson. This week we're talking about westward expansion. And the first word that we are going to see that is going to be the overarching theme to the entire lesson is manifest destiny. Okay, manifest destiny is a huge word. I'd like for you to look it up on your own so that you can define it on your own if you're ever asked to and you don't need a book or you don't need to look at your phone. But my version of the definition is basically this. Manifest destiny, guys. This is a belief that we had a God-given right, that it was God's will that we move westward as a nation and we expand the United States of America from shoreline to shoreline, east coast to west coast. Okay, that was all our land. And this entire lesson is going to be about how we accomplish that, some of the major events that happened, I guess in the process, I should say, some of the ways we accomplished that. But again, not all. We can't realistically cover every single event that happened in the course of 100 plus years, from the mid 1700s before we were the United States until mid 1800s, right before the Civil War. That would be unrealistic. Okay, so let's talk about some of these bigger ones here. One of the first things you guys are going to see is trade, trails, early settlement. Remember, guys, this is the 1800s. Okay, railroads were a thing, but they did not span from East Coast to West Coast. That's going to be a big event that happens after the Civil War. So for at least another 30, 40 years, we are not going to have a transcontinental railroad. Okay, so how do we get there? Well, there's trails. How did these trails form? You got to think, guys, we talked about trade. We talked about things like this before. When there's a need to share information, to trade goods, services, anything like that, there's going to be trails. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Another major event, guys, we're going to talk about is the Texas Revolution. Fun fact, if you don't know, Texas was its own country for a little while. Okay, it originally belonged to Mexico, and you had American settlers move there, and then there was not an American Revolution, but a Texas Revolution, where they fought off the Mexican government and won independence. And then they were their own country for a few years until we adapted them into the United States of America. So you're going to learn a little bit about that. And you're going to learn about the last major war right before the Civil War, which is the Mexican-American War. This is how we get the states of California, New Mexico, Arizona. Okay, we are going to get a lot of land from that, and that allows us to officially expand from coast to coast, including the southern part of the West Coast. We had already owned the Oregon Territory. Okay. Moving forward here, we also have the California Gold Rush. If we have any football fans, and you've ever watched a football game, the San Francisco 49ers, if you don't know why they're named the 49ers, guys, that's because there was a massive gold rush in 1849 in California, which drew a lot of people westward. Okay, everybody's looking to make a fortune. There's a lot of cheap land out west. And the United States government wanted people to settle that land, so they were offering large land deals for anybody who was willing to settle and kind of start their life on the frontier, which, remember, it's difficult. If I threw you guys in the middle of the woods today and said, all right, this is all your land, but start fresh. You got to build a house. You got to find animals. You got to find your own food. It's not going to be an easy life, okay? And that's even with today's technology. Think about what they had back in the 1800s, all right? And that's really where the lesson is going to end for the week. Again, it doesn't sound like a lot, and it's really not that bad if you just work your way through it piece by piece. Remember to take breaks. And remember, guys, if you do have any questions, concerns, issues, reach out to me, reach out to any other teacher. We will absolutely do whatever we can to help you. And as of, I guess with that, I should say, I've got nothing else for you today. I hope to hear from you guys. I'll be reaching out throughout the week to all of my students in my caseload. And again, call me if you need me. All right. Talk to you guys later.